All right, so today I have two certified child life specialists here that are alumni of the University of Central Florida's early childhood program. Now they are working as certified child life specialists at a hospital together. So we have Lauren Mensch here and
Hi.
we have Brooke Bingham here.
Hi.
All right. So if you guys could start by please walking us through what a typical day looks like for you as a child life specialist, how you balance clinical responsibilities, patient interactions, and collaborate with the healthcare team.
Okay, sounds good. Go first. Sure. You go first. It doesn't matter. So our days are gonna look very different.
Yeah.
Lauren is outpatient and I am inpatient. So I cover the orthoneuro and CVICU. Um, a typical day, we come in, I'm gonna check my patient census, start meeting with the team, building rapport on kind of what's going on that day and how I can be helpful, whether that's procedure support, bedside drop offs. They just can give me some insight into what is happening. And then from there, I'm going to prioritize which patients I'm going to see first and dedicate which time to who. So,
Yeah. Like Brooke said, I am an outpatient child life specialist, so I work in the emergency department. So, if I'm being honest, none of my days really look the same. I kind of walk into work not really knowing who's going to be there, what patients I'm going to have to see, what staff is going to be there. So, usually when I get in, I'll kind of check out the board to see what's happening, but it's mainly a lot of verbal report. So, I'll just walk around, say hi to staff, let them know that I'm here today, or if my counterparts with me that we're here today, if they need any support from us. And then from there, they'll usually tell me if they have a kid who needs something, or I'll check my chart and kind of go from there and prioritize what kid to see first, rather it be maybe procedural support, which is what I do a lot of the time. But it also could just be like dropping off toys or sensory items for patients that have sensory processing, or autism or any of that kind of stuff. So, like I said, lots of verbal report and kind of checking in with staff rather than kind of checking the board.
Awesome. Thank you. And then now, kind of looking at academic preparation, looking back on your time at UCF and in your courses, what aspects of your academic program or training were most valuable in preparing you for the realities of working in child life?
Mm-hmm.
um, I guess I'll just jump real quick. Being in school, um, going through school really helped build that foundation
Mm-hmm.
of development and theory, which allows me to apply that to my daily practice. It is not always a one size fits all, but it's a great foundation to start when assessing patients,
Mm-hmm.
when kind of figuring out what their needs are, and being able to put it into daily practice.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. I do feel like a lot of that like theoretical like foundation that we learned in class can be applied to so much of like our clinical work, like Brooke said. Even though it's not always something we're directly using, I feel like it always indirectly applies to what we're doing and how we guide our interventions.
Mm-hmm.
Like she said, it's not always a one size fits all, but a lot of the developmental pieces that kind of correlate with certain ages and things like that can really be helpful to kind of guide what we're doing and guide how we're approaching situations.
Okay, so now thinking about skills that you use in practice, what skills, whether they be clinical, interpersonal, or organizational, do you find yourself relying on most in your daily practice?
So in the ED, I use a lot of skills to kind of guide my work. I would say the biggest skill that I use is prioritizing patients based on their acuity level, kind of what they're in the hospital for, their age, what procedure they might be getting done. There's a lot of different things you can look at, and it really is important to make sure that you consider all the factors of the patient's plan and, like I said, age and stuff like that. A lot of problem solving skills as well. You have to be very like flexible and quick on your feet just because it is so fast paced. So the interventions sometimes have to be like I don't have any tools with me. I'm just talking to the kid, like just because that's the situation. A lot of communication with staff. Communication is a huge skill. I mean, for any, I feel like child life specialist, but especially in ED too. Work with a lot of members of the interdisciplinary team. That's how you kind of learn what's happening and kind of gain the insight that you need to work with patients. So I work with nursing staff a lot, doctors, social work, the spiritual care team, just lots of different members of the team in general, to kind of guide my interventions as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say being inpatient, a lot of developing those therapeutic relationships really help develop the foundation of whether it's procedure support, whether it's just some bedside hangouts. In developing those and building that rapport, I'm able to be, quick on my feet if something were to come up with support, and ultimately just building those relationships with the long-term kiddos has probably been the most consistent.
Awesome. All right. So one last question here on kind of professional growth and advice for future professionals. What insights or lessons have you gained since entering the field that you wish you had known as a student preparing for a child life career?
I feel like in child life, there's your highs, like they're very high, and then you have your lows, and they might be very low. But I think it's really important to, in my opinion, I feel like all the highs really outweigh those low moments. Our work is so important, and I'm very lucky to have this as my career. I feel really blessed to be a child life specialist. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be those days that are really hard and that stick with you. I know I've had my fair share of days where I am driving home in the car and I'm like, wow, like that was just a day. And like, it was hard, but I'm really grateful that I was able to be there to support the patient or family or whoever it might have been. So I think it's just really important to remember that our job is very meaningful and our job is very important. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes you have the low moments, but that those moments are always going to outweigh those moments, if that makes sense.
Yeah. For me, I would say our job is not a one size fits all. And being able to take what we learned and adapt that into each individual interaction that you have with all the patients and families, because those needs are so different and services are so different, and what's required may not always be the same. So being able to individualize those needs in such a quick way, but also just, I guess, how much I love this job. I love this career, and it can be challenging to get here. It can be discouraging. It can be tough, but at the end of the day, when you finish that race, it is so worth it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's definitely tough. It's definitely a process to get to where we are now. But I mean, like she said, once you get there, it's what like kind of in the past, but in the moment it can feel really hard. But just know that it's worth it, and that, to keep on pushing, because our job is just so unique and incredible. And I feel so lucky to be in this position. And I know anyone else who really wants to be in this position can also do it. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, child life, it's the best job in the world, right? All right. Thank you guys so much for helping answer some questions today. I really appreciate it, and I know that our students will too.